Thank you, Madam Double Chair. I agree with just about everything my colleague said, except for the part where she criticized Republicans, but other than that, she did say some. I want to thank all of you for being here. I just wanted to share a few general thoughts with you. In America, you can believe what you want, but I'm a big believer in free will and responsibility. A French philosopher of the last century, very famous, tough to read, but if you plow through his works, he had a lot to say, called Jean-Paul Sartre, said to be is to act. He said all we are is the sum of our actions. And so despite what we say, what you do is what you believe. And frankly, everything else is just cottage cheese. Now, in government, where you spend your money is what you believe. Forget the rhetoric. Look, follow the money. Follow the money. I'm a big believer in using, and I think it is the answer to many, not just of the problems of the United States, but our neighbors' problems across the world, at least in terms of energy. I believe that we should use technology to make all forms of energy more available, cheaper, and cleaner. All forms of energy. I support green energy. I support nuclear. I support hydroelectric energy. I support geothermal. I support oil and gas in terms of trying to provide for a cleaner environment. I think that it's worth pursuing geoengineering. And I say all of that because I look at your proposed budget, keeping in mind that what you do is what you believe, and in government, where you spend your money is what you believe. You're proposing that we increase funding for green energy by 38%. I support green energy. I think it's going to have to learn how to stand on its own 2 feet, but I support it. But you only increase funding for fossil energy by 2%, and you actually cut nuclear energy funding by 12%. Now, pull up that first slide for me. Here, I'll just hold it. This is from your website, okay? Nuclear power is the most reliable energy source, and it's not even close. And that's true, particularly in terms of capacity factor. Okay, so how come you're not funding it that way? How come? I mean, these advanced small modular nuclear reactors have an enormous potential. And if I read this part of your website, I would say, wow, the department agrees. But your proposal for funding falls millions and millions and millions of dollars short. LNG. LNG, you know what most countries do when they don't have natural gas? They use coal. They burn wood. We should be encouraging LNG. I'm hoping to hear today what you're doing to cut some of the red tape. But those are my general thoughts. I don't want to end on a negative note. Thank you for being here. I'm looking forward to your testimony. And I'm thinking about Senator Feinstein and Secretary Granholm. If they're listening now, I'd tell them both to get a life. okay? But if they, but I just want them to know that I hope they're feeling better, and I look forward to seeing both of them back soon. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much, Ranking Member Kennedy.
Madam Chair, Mr. Secretary, thanks for being here. I want to tap your expertise for a moment. Give me your best estimate, just an estimate, I know, of how soon you think the United States of America will be carbon neutral.
So I think, according to the climate scientists around the world, and certainly the cutting-edge scientists that we need to rely on here in the U.S., we've got to get carbon neutral by 2050, and I'm very comfortable with that target, and I think that's the appropriate target.
By 2050.
Which is only 27 years. That is not a long time away.
And how much will that cost?
So the cost that I focus on even more is all the costs that are going to happen if we don't get our act together.
How much will it cost to get us carbon neutral?
It's going to cost trillions of dollars, and it'll cost tens of trillions of dollars if we don't get our act together.
How many trillions?
I don't have the estimate or the numbers in front of me. I've seen a variety of different estimates, but it's a large amount. Fundamentally transforming our energy economy is a big deal.
Tell me the estimates that you've seen.
I don't have those numbers right on hand.
So you're advocating that we become carbon neutral, but you don't know how much it's going to cost?
So there's an awful lot of estimates out there. It depends on technology improvement and other kinds of things.
You're the expert.
I know with
how much it's going to cost.
I know with the certainty of all the experts I've spoken about, it's cheaper to get our act together than it is to not get our act together on climate change.
Okay, then tell me the cost versus the cost that if we don't do it.
I think it's orders of magnitude different. If we don't get our act together, it's
you don't have a cost. You want us to get there, but you can't tell the American taxpayer how much it's going to cost? Is that your testimony?
It's going to save us money, and there's a lot of jobs.
Well, how do we know if you don't know how much it's going to cost?
I'd be happy to pull up the latest numbers that I've seen.
How about $50 trillion? Is that right?
It's going to cost trillions of dollars. There's no doubt about it.
Okay. If we spend trillions of dollars and we achieve, some of your colleagues estimate 50 trillion, and it disappoints me that you're not willing to give the estimates. I hope you're not telling me you have no idea how much it's going to cost. That creates a whole new host of problems. But if it costs $50 trillion, as some of your colleagues have testified, to become carbon neutral by 2050, and I'm all for carbon neutrality, by the way, how much is that going to lower world temperatures? Or how much is that going to reduce the increase in world temperatures?
So every country around the world needs to get its act together. Our emissions are about 13% of global emissions.
Yeah, but if you could answer my question, if we spend $50 trillion to become carbon neutral in the United States of America by 2050, you're the Deputy Secretary of Energy. Give me your estimate of how much that is going to reduce world temperatures.
So first of all, it's a net cost. It's what benefits we're having from getting our act together and reducing all of those climate benefits. We're seeing.
Let me ask again. Maybe I'm not being
country.
clear. If we spent $50 trillion to become carbon neutral by 2050 in the United States of America, how much is that going to reduce world temperatures?
This is a global problem. So we need to reduce our emissions, and we need to do everything we can.
How much, if we do our part, is it going to reduce world temperatures?
So we're 13% of global emissions.
You don't know, do you? You don't know, do you?
You can do the math. We need to.
You don't know, do you, Mr. Secretary?
So we're 13% of global
emissions. If you know, why won't you tell me?
If we went to zero, that would be 13%.
You don't know, do you? You just want us to spend $50 trillion, and you don't have the slightest idea whether it's going to reduce world temperatures. Now, I'm all for carbon neutrality, but you're the Deputy Secretary of the Department of Energy, and you're advocating we spend trillions of dollars to seek carbon neutrality, and you can't, and this isn't your money or my money, it's taxpayer money, and you can't tell me how much it's going to lower world temperatures? Or you won't tell me? You know, but you won't?
In my heart of hearts, there is no way the world gets its act together on climate change unless the U.S. leads.
Tell me how much it's going to reduce. You can't tell me. Either that or you won't.
We're 13%, 15% roughly
the President of the United States needs, I've still got a few seconds. I got 22 seconds. I'm going to use them a different way. Mr. Secretary, shame on you for not answering my questions. Madam Administrator, how are we going to get plutonium pit production back on track?
Well, thanks, Senator Kennedy. We are doing, the most important thing we have to do to get pit production back on track is get craft workers in the facilities, finish our designs, get craft workers in the facilities, and that is happening. And so we have got great confidence between changes we're making in our processes, getting people on board, doing equipment pre-buys, particularly for glove boxes, which are limited manufacturers in the United States, that we will be able to make pits. We're going to be late. We're trying to catch up.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Senator Heinrich.